Right, then I think we are ready to begin. I hope everybody on Zoom can hear us okay. If not, just comment in the chat. So welcome everybody for coming to today's event on funding opportunities for startups in research-based innovation projects. We have many excellent speakers today, so I will not take up much of your time. You have not come to hear me talk. But first, just a few words about Nora Startup. So Nora, for those of you who don't know, we are an AI consortium consisting of 16 university partners in Norway, and we work on many different pillars. Innovation is one of them, which I coordinate. And today you are attending a Nora Startup event. So Nora Startup is not an incubator, not an accelerator. We are more a community for AI startups in Norway. These are some of our proud members. We have about 40 plus startup companies in spread all across Norway, and also, of course, 50 plus researchers and students that are a part of the collaboration as well. These are students and researchers that might have an idea, but want to learn more about the community, the entrepreneurial process, and so on and so on. So if you're interested in learning more about Nora and Nora Startup, just get in touch. I'll be hanging out here all day. But today, yes, we will be hearing more about many different funding opportunities. We're very proud to have at least 5 members in Nora Startup that have actually received funding from both the Research Council, but also from the EIC grants. So we're very proud about that. And we're also very grateful for being allowed to have this event here at Startup Lab. And Jørgen Veiby, who is our host here today.
Yes, so my name is Jørgen. Hello, everyone. I'm many familiar faces today, I would say. I work at Startup Lab in the team, helping. Part of my job is helping companies to navigate in this virkemiddelapparatet, the very Norwegian name, and try to get grants from EU and national grants. So I'm a little bit curious today who are here from, because I know people are from a little bit different incubators. Who are here from, for instance, Alib? Anyone from Alib here? No? From ShareLab? Yeah, ShareLab is there. And Startup Lab, I see some, yeah, here. And people outside those 3 incubators? Yes. Okay, good. Good mix. So thank you, Birte, for organizing this event. And yeah.
Thank you. We can stand here and thank each other all day.
Yeah.
But let's get on with the program and invite our first speaker, Per Torkil Fjuk from the Norwegian Research Council.
Er det mikrofonen her? Må jeg skrike høyt?
Ja, den mikrofonen der skal virke.
Ja.
Ok. Litt tett på, så du får vurdere. Du kan jo begynne å snakke, og så se om folk...
Yes, everybody is hearing. Good. My name is Paul from Research Council. I recognized a lot of the companies that you presented here. They have projects, IPN projects. This year is very special for us in the Research Council. This year we have only one cutoff for IPN applications, and that's it.
Sure, hold on.
Jeg kan holde det. Hvordan jeg byttet slide her? Er det bare noe? Okay. Yeah. We have one cutoff, one deadline. So that cutoff is 7th of June. And nothing is happening until next year. So if you want to apply, you better hurry up, actually. So that's why I, in this brief session, I will focus on the call as such and try to give you some highlights of the actual call. If you are preparing an application now before 7th of June, that can be useful for you. So it's not going to be a general IPN presentation. Okay, this is. Where shall I start? This is what meets you when you first go into the call. There you see the deadline, 7th of June. I don't know. I spoke to one person here actually planning to submit an application. How many are in the process for reaching that date? Yeah. Okay. So what you can, how much money you can get. I mean, the minimum funding is 2 million Norwegian crowns. In practicals, that means that you need projects of approximately costing 4 million because you can't reach, can get more than 50%. So, but if you want to find out how the high level of what you can get, the minimum is 2 million. Then you need to go into the different portfolio areas here. And for instance, for the area where I'm working in industry and services within the ICT sector, the maximum is 16 million. So between 2 million and 60 million is the amount you can apply for. Totally, we have for IPN 971 million, and everything is going out this round. So it's a good opportunity for actually those applying. In other years, we have split between different cutoffs during the year, 2 or 3 cutoffs. I believe for the ICT sector, I mean, approximately half of this 970 million is coming into the industry and services portfolio. That's where ICT, health, I mean, almost a garbage can. If your application cannot fit in one of the others, they will fit into the industry and services sector. Because all IPN's applications will find a home. Independent of theme or area, they will find a home and will be evaluated. Okay, and who can apply? Yeah, it's for the enterprise sector. So you need to have a company registered in Brønnøysund, typically an AS, aksjeselskap. So this is not, of course, not a call for universities, institutes, and the public sector. And this is the important deadline. Okay, when you write the application now and want to submit it by 7th of June, it's important that the earliest project date is 1st of January. Because even though we apply now 7th of June, you will not get noticed if you get funding until December. That's how it is this year. So apology for that. It's extremely long time. So plan for that. Yeah, and another requirement you have probably found out is that we appreciate cooperation. So you need to have one partner with you as a minimum. And it's okay to have several partners, preferably value chain type of scenario within the consortium. So the partners must have a dedicated role and be important for actually exercising the project. But as a minimum, you need to have one partner. We have a lot of projects actually with only the project on grant, for instance, SINTEF or Norsk Grensesentral, but try to be fair with partners. Okay, this is some type of wish list for a project we really want to fund. The innovation must be clear, and it's up to you in the application to describe why this is a new innovation. Don't rely on the subject matter experts understanding that. You need to explain it and compare it with state of the art, what's out there. So that's please also be clear what problem you are going to solve, for whom is this a problem, how is this solved today, and not just not just write that we're going to do this because we can do it. Try to argument a little bit why you do this and how this is done today and what your innovation is. And since this is our money, all of us that's going into the project, it's tax money. And we want to fund projects that are ambitious. We don't want to fund projects that should have got financing elsewhere. So there should be a risk in your project. There should be a type of ambition that you are not sure that actually can do this. That's extreme. Of course, you believe you can do it. But if you succeed solving the tasks, then there is great rewards. So it's high ambition. We might not manage to do it, but if we can do it, it will be very good impact for both society and, of course, and don't remember that also involves you as a partner economics. I mean, a lot of applications forget that starting a project with a cost of 30 million, you need to have good thoughts about how you as a company is going to work on it on this project. So don't forget that. And that's also related to this one, because we want to see the innovation create value, and you should have a plan for how you're moving out to create that value. Many forget to do that in the application. Yeah. Preferably, we want big cooperation, several partners. If possible, include all players in a value chain that can be have interest or impact on the project. And of course, the project plan, that's more like the project manager in you must believe in this project plan that you are going to sell. And try to explain why you need funding from Research Council. Why you can't get funding elsewhere? Because that's something that's getting more and more traction, that we fund projects with a profile that can be hard to actually get out in the other markets. And this is also from the call. Many of you probably know this left part here, because that's the state aid rules. Most of the companies from here, they are probably small, and can actually have get support of 70% of funding for the project, according to the state aid rules. I'm not going into this differentiation, because all the activities in your project plan must be categorized as either industrial research or experimental development. That's not critical really for the evaluation by the subject matter experts, but it will be important if we get funding and we need to do a contract with you. But in this call, each company going in with in-kind in a project cannot get more than 50% covered. So the rest needs to be covered by you, and you need to have a plan for how we're actually going to finance that. We have not a requirement that we have a fixed have this almost on our account when you start a project, but you need to have some thoughts about how we're actually going to finance your part in the project. Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't need to have the commitments up front. But you need to show that you are aware that this can be a challenge and that you have a plan to actually finance your part of the project. It's not a very strict requirement, but it will be looked upon both by the subject matter experts evaluating the application and also by us when we do a contract with you. So it might be that you for instance, during fall, our plans to do investments. Yeah. So it's good that they touch upon it in the application. But the good thing is that when you get on, if you are a small company and all your activities are industrial research, the good thing is that you have 20% left that can be funded. So then you can apply for SkatteFUNN, for instance, or perhaps Innovation Norway for 20% of the cost as well. Yeah, this is very practical on what to submit. Of course, it's the application form with all the basic information about the project. The project description, that's probably the most that's the most important document. It's only 10 pages. We have a lot of complaints about that because yeah, it's only 10 pages. So we need to fit all your beautiful things into those 10 pages. But this is the document subject matter experts are really looking into. Of course, they're looking into everything, but I need to have also mandatory documents like the company information document for all the partners in the project in kind, all the enterprises, and also the CV for the project manager. It's only the CV for the project manager that are mandatory. And please select the CV. Please select the project manager with the best CV, and not maybe the one you actually want to have as project manager. Because some are actually looking into this. Everything is done on the RCN web. And make sure, yeah, sorry.
There is the partner versus R&D provider.
Yeah.
Do you call both of them as participating companies or collaborating partners somewhere? I'm wondering whether the attachment of company information is needed for R&D.
No, it's the company information is only needed for those going in kind. Yeah, in the application to and finansiering. So like SINTEF, Norsk Regnsentral, University of Oslo, that you don't need to have company information for those. Because they are R&D partners and will invoice you for their work, yeah. Right? So, but please be careful that the company that applies this also send in this information. Some often misunderstand that. So you as an applicant must also provide that, of course. Use the right templates. Make sure that you hand in all the mandatory documents. That's should be. And now this is actually the most important thing. This is the most important thing because this is a competition, right? And we still use human experts. Might change sometimes with the ChatGPT and everything, but we still use humans assessing your application. For subject matter experts, evaluating your application at home, send in their comments and grades. And we have this panel session where everybody all shall agree on the outcome, both the comments and the grade. And it's these three criteria: excellence, eller forskning på norsk, impact, virkning og effekter på norsk, and implementation, gjennomføring på norsk. The best tips is that you actually look at this very, very, very carefully, because this is the make or break. Because the subject matter experts, their task is to analyze how well you actually answer to each of these bullet points. So don't be sure that you don't miss a point here. Again, for startup companies, it might be easy to miss, for instance, this. This value creation for the company. Try to quantify this in a currency and be clear about your business plan. This is a typical trap for those applying for the first time. So best tips is to actually review the application very, very tightly before this areas. Some of the programs still use relevance. Industriorganiseringen is not going to use relevance for this round to save some time, and it's for their as well. So it's a 3 criteria there. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it should be contrasted with what it would have been without it, right?
Right. That's a tricky point because if I mean, ideally you shall quantify what this project brings into it, but it might be a part of the solution or extension to the solution, so it can be difficult. But this project impact rippling effect that's based on trust. It's very hard for the subject matter experts to say either all the way. So they must trust what you are writing, and you must argue, try to build up an argumentation that it's what you are providing with figures and your plan is sensible. Because if you don't do any of that, they might say that why do you start a project costing 30 million without actually have any idea what you're going to earn on it? So you need to have something. Yeah.
I have another regarding the yellow bricks and what are the criteria that actually you evaluate a startup that is going to make projects, which includes scaling up, employing new resources, growing the team, evaluating the project that actually doesn't exist today? How do you measure that capacity of delivery, and what are the metrics?
It's I mean, of course, any costs connected to actually building a company cannot be included in the project plan because that's not R&D. But it might be wise for a startup company to actually, if you have place in these 10 pages, describe how we want to grow your business and how we want to employ more people, because that can be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue, but some subject matter experts are very reluctant to actually, they don't have capacity to do this. They don't have capacity to do this project because you have only 2 employees, for instance. So then they try to explain how we want to grow your company, and that you can actually be able to do the project. Really. If you understand what I mean. But it's important to say that we are supporting a project, not a company. And we are supporting the project activities that you described in the project plan. There cannot be commercialization, marketing activities, and stuff like that in the project.
The project requires additional hires, research hires.
Yeah, of course you can buy services from.
No, not buying, but
Yeah, you can, if you in your project, if you in your application say that your company will cover 10 million in kind, and today you are 1 person, then you need to maybe try to explain how it is going to be done. But we have applications where you have 0 employees, especially in the health sector. That's quite common actually, and they want sub-suppliers to do everything. We are not so happy about those projects, but that's allowed. It's allowed to do that.
This looks very much like an
the way the new projects are set up.
Yeah.
Is the evaluation process submitted as well? Is it several experts? How is the evaluation process?
We are only using Norwegian experts, subject matter experts, and there are 4 trees minimum. Usually use 4, and they are 90% of them are from the industry. So that's different. So it's Norwegian experts from the industry.
And it's a one-stop evaluation because some of the EU projects they're the development process and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's one exercise. I remember Kai will probably I believe about the EU. Okay, then I think I'm at the end. This is just how it's done. Not going into detail there, but it's the subject matter feedback that's important, and that's why I highlight so much this criteria that you should be very careful about. Okay. Yeah.
For the R&D partner, does it have to be from an approved list, or can it be
Yeah.
It
It can be unapproved. I mean, you can use, as an R&D partner, you can use a consultancy company as an R&D. That's allowed. But I must say that most of the applications actually succeed. They have an R&D partner with them in the project from either university, high schools, institutes. But it's allowed to, for instance, hire a consultant. But then there probably also could be a subsidy.
Yeah, just a follow-up. Can one somehow put international research organization in European?
Right. They can of course they can. The other thing is that non-Norwegian companies cannot go in time.
No.
No, at least they cannot be calculated in the project costs.
I was thinking more for the research organization.
Yeah, of course they can. Then they will send an invoice as they usually do, and they can do.
Yeah, one question regarding the research partner. Could that be considered as employing a PhD?
Yeah, that's postdocs, PhDs. That's often how the universities solve their engagements in the context.
Yeah, but for us as a scale-up, the
Yeah.
cost will be 40% employing a person versus paying the seat at 2.5 the rate. And here is actually you get much more from employing the researcher in your company than working with someone that has 20 other projects in that experience.
Yeah, but they still then they actually are in your company. I mean,
Yeah.
and
It would be much better, I think, tax-wise for the hours.
Yeah.
That are used.
but the PhD must then must belong somewhere. So it must be, for instance, in some kind of university or. Eller så har du næringsliv, og that's different type of thing.
Last question.
That was small company, it's only myself.
Yeah.
I think single person company. Can I have no money?
Yeah, if you are beside AS, for example.
No, not that.
No, then you cannot.
Because
No.
even though I can.
No, enkeltpersonforetak kan ikke sånn.
If I had some new compound, I can cure to the group.
Nei, men det er men sånn det reglene. Da får du lage AS. Enkeltmannsforetak kan ikke søke. That's how it is. So, sorry about that.
You will maybe be around to
Yeah.
answer more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So next up is Maria from Vectors, who has applied for IPN and are in the IPN project now. Yes. From the source itself.
All right. Oh, sure. Because there's someone on video as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Do I need to use a microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hi. Yes, so we are Factiverse. Let me just open some of my notes. We company based here in Startup Lab. Originally, we actually from University in Stavanger, which is where my co-founder is, and he's professor in machine learning in Stavanger, and was based on his research that we founded the company in 2020, and have been applying to some of the soft funding. The latest one was the IPN, which we applied for a project on explainable AI. We've been kind of because the technology we have, it's on automated fact checking. It took us actually a couple of years to figure out who's the customer, where are we going with this, and how to adjust this kind of technology directly from university to real life corporate market. And it's actually that's why we've also spent quite a lot of time on applying for R&D funding, because we still had a lot of things to figure out. And with IPN, it took us, it was very stressful. We spent about, 2 months on the application, but not full-time 2 months. We had someone to help us with that, a person who have been our CFO for hire for since the beginning, since we founded the company, and who's helped us to apply for a couple of other grants. So he knew already a little bit about the company. We looked into other options of getting a consultant, getting a company, but that was, it didn't feel right. It was good to have someone who has known us for a while, and knew what we're doing before kind of engaging in this process. Because even I think if you get someone to help you, you still have to do a lot of work yourself, because you have to contribute with feedback, and you have to figure out like the whole outline of the proposal. So the project we got is called Explainable AI for Automated Fact Checking. And we understood that we need to be a bit of visionary. We have to think, what is it we will apply funding that we cannot do ourselves with our resources? And we chose this topic of explainability because basically you have a lot of AI applications, AI tools, but how can you actually demystify what's happening? What is the output of the AI technology? So in our case, there were a lot of journalists who said, oh, you have fact-checked this text, but why do I get the results that these claims are disputed and this claim are supported? What is the data behind this? So for us, we figured out that this explainable AI part was actually quite useful for our future customers, and we saw that no one else was doing anything on that, because it's growing, it's hyped up field, but there's actually not a lot that has been done here. And it helped a lot that my co-founder was he's professor in machine learning, so he kind of understood. He's been in touch a lot with the academic environments in different countries, especially in Germany, and kind of picked up on what is happening there. So we applied. It took a lot of time to write the work packages. I think the rest of the text, like why AI, what we do, how we solve this, etc., that went quite well. We had some stuff from previous applications we could reuse, and then we edited. But the fact of like making really good work packages, I think that was quite important. And even though we had a person to help us with that, even I wrote quite a lot of those work packages himself, very in detail, how much time we're going to spend on different aspects of it, how we're actually going to work with it. And I think it's worth investing your time in working with the work packages, especially, don't let it be the last thing you do before you submit an application. You might even just get started on this early on. We managed to get also a couple of partners for the project. We involved Nysnø and the investment fund, and also the Faktisk.no, the fact-checking organization. These processes also take time. So if you want to apply, start looking into partners already, because especially the bigger organization, you know, the more rounds it has to go through before you actually get a signed letter of intent and agreement, and you have more people who need to say, more leaders. Even if you have a champion, it might take time. And in our case, we also wanted to involve actually University of Stavanger and University of Delft in Netherlands. We've had collaboration with the University of Stavanger with a previous application with for me at the Research Council, which went well. But when we went to the University of Stavanger, they were a bit hesitant actually to join. And it caught us a little bit by surprise, because we were kind of counting on them joining our project. But for them, they either wanted us to apply for the funding and get a full-time PhD through this project that can be supported by the IPN grant, or not, like, because they had so much to do that they couldn't commit to like a few hours or a few months of research work that they could provide us. So that was also kind of a learning when you're working with university. It's actually can be difficult for them to figure out how the resources will be shared between different projects, and especially if you're gonna, I think master's students on the master's level that can be hired as researchers, I think that could be a good solution. But as soon as you have someone who will be have a PhD or postdoc and will be doing the work with your project, then it can be a bit difficult to kind of decide how much time they'll spend. So we ended up actually not working with the University of Stavanger, but because Vinay had previously worked with someone from the university in TU Delft, we actually got them as a partner, research partner in the project, which was great, because they have some of the best environment in the explainable AI field. So actually, we would have not. It was a connection that Vinay had through his previous work with previous universities. So the relationship was established there. So if that helped, if you're going to do to involve a research partner that's again outside the country, or someone you maybe don't know so well, take the time to build a relationship, because it's also a lot of process that has to go, and there many times it has to go through through the research department, through the legal department. We have another smaller project with research in Rogaland, where we involved actually University in Bergen for a smaller project, and we've had so many rounds on the contract and legal and everything. So make sure you have, you know, if you're going to involve the research partner, go travel, meet them, have dinner with them, make sure that you have good connection. And the same as well with the business partners. Yeah, I was just looking, we got actually quite good grades because of this. I think we got in the research and innovation criteria, we got 7, and then they also have the virkning or affected, the consequences and the impact of the project, gjennomføring, how we are actually will finish the project. That's where the work packages come in, and how relevant the project is for this IPN grant. So they evaluated us on these 4 criteria and gave quite good grades. So that again, we because we applied with such a kind of innovative and difficult topic. I think that's why the project got attention from the I hope so from the Research Council. But it's also slippery slope, right? We're only a small startup, so when you decide to commit to a project like that, that requires quite a lot of capacity. You have to really think, can you do that? What's feasible? What's possible? What's great in this case is that because of this collaboration with Delft, we managed to get their new postdoc. They actually had to recruit a person for this position, so that's also you have to keep in mind when you're searching a research partner. And this person just recently started, so we finally it took a few months before we finally had a proper kickoff. And this person is a postdoc, is going to be working on the project for 1 year full time. Plus, there's going to be some support from the professors in the institute. So that made us very confident that, okay, we can actually do quite a lot of research and achieve something here. If we would do a lot of we're also doing a lot of research ourselves, but doing more on even a new topic, that would be actually quite difficult. Yeah. Are there something I should mention? I think that, yeah.
You mentioned that
Yeah, the question, good. The question is if we still have international Norwegian partners and how we deal with them. So the business partners in the project, Faktisk and Nystad, they are in Norway. So we still have them. We wanted to have the University of Stavanger. It didn't work out because they didn't have any capacity. So we ended up with just Delft as a partner. What I see is that it's a lot of paperwork to get all the documents ready. I think it's easier to underestimate how much time it takes. You know, you sign a contract. You when we finally got the funding, it actually took us. We almost lost it because we spent so much time negotiating all the getting all the proper contracts in order, because it was the Delft University didn't know so much about how it's to work with the Norwegian company and R&D grant. So we spent quite a lot of time explaining things to their legal department, and because we had a champion there, it actually worked out. And the same is with the companies Nysnø and Faktisk, is because they really believed in us. We've had a relationship with them previously. They kind of, it went faster to get things signed in order to submit it, in order to get the first payment from the council. Yeah, I think the time and the paperwork, especially I'm okay with all the admin stuff in the startup. Some people hate it. If you hate it, try to ask someone else to help it with you. Otherwise, it's gonna be really stressful. Thank you.
And congratulations on the MBA.
Yeah, very
Main
exciting.
message, yeah.
I think the last thing I forgot to say is that I think we applied the year when, we applied the year when it's actually the grants for IPN were reduced. So our budget was actually much higher. We were hoping to get usually a project like that got higher funding, and also our funding rate was lower as well. I think we got 40% coverage. So that's also, suddenly we had to adjust the budget and kind of downplay our ambition, but not losing the scope of the project. So that can happen as well.
That can happen as well. Thank you. Well, yes, next speaker is Katinka Holtaman from the Norwegian Research Council, and she will talk about something very exciting as well, Eurostars.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. I think I met some of you before, but that was during the COVID. So I've seen some of your faces. It's only digital. Eurostars is actually the largest. I think it is the largest international scheme program for SMEs wishing to collaborate on R&D projects. It's totally bottom up. You may have projects in all kinds of fields and sectors. There are no limits. It might be 95% biotech or health, no problem. And it is projects that should create innovative products, processes, or services for commercialization. And SMEs is the target group for this program, European SMEs. But you may have partners from large companies, university sectors, or research organizations in Norway or abroad. SINTEF, Fraunhofer, it's up to you. A typical Eurostars project is 3 to 4 partners from 2 to 3 countries for 2.5-year projects with a cost around 1.4 million euro. 50% funding for the SMEs. Eurostars is a part of Horizon Europe and the co-funded partnership Innovative SMEs. However, the funding comes from the countries. RCN, the Research Council Norway, funds the Norwegian partners, while your partners from other countries will finance and fund their national partners. So that's why the funding from this program must be linked to the state aid rules. That's why it's only 50% funding plus SkatteFUNN, can apply for SkatteFUNN after, but it's not the same level as you have in the EU.
Keep the microphone closer.
Even closer. That's better? Okay, I'll try to talk louder. Can you hear me now? Is it better? Okay, I'll try. Scream out. There are several criteria for Eurostars, and each country sometimes have their own criteria. In Norway, we do that. And all Norwegian Eurostars application must include an SME. You will find examples from, for example, Denmark, that they allowed, for example, university hospitals to be the only partner. But in Norway, we would like to see an SME in each application. You must have that. As I said, you may have partners from university sector or SINTEF or other, but you must have at least one Norwegian SME in your application, your consortium. And all partners must be able to finance their own part of the project. And we have been a little bit more strict the last year. So all Norwegian SMEs must have at least 500,000 NOK in equity in the time of the submission. And this is like no discussion. And we know that for some of you, specifically some of the startups, this might be difficult, but still, that's a criteria. I know it might be difficult, but it's a criteria. So we're quite strict on that. And that's different towards IPN. They are more, they're nicer than we are. We're much more strict. And why we are doing this is that because you're going into international consortium with partners from other countries. And we don't want to send a startup in there with an economic financial situation quite vulnerable if there might come up some changes or challenges situations in your economic situation. That's why we have that. Yes, please.
Question regarding that.
should be taking account at the moment of the application or the third part of the moment of approval. We got these issues that actually as a startup, to start thinking you're actually ongoing, why wait for
No, you have to have documentation for that at the submission. But regarding the rest of the funding of your projects, I mean that the rest of the millions you need, then you can have a commitment from investors that if you will succeed in your Eurostars application, then the investors will come with the necessary money. But then you need to show kind of commitment there. So we are sure that we are not saying, yes, this is okay, and then the other countries have partners where everything is fixed. And then I have to come in the second round and say, oh, sorry, unfortunately, the Norwegian partner doesn't have the money. You see, that's why we try to be strict, because it's a collaborative project with partners in different countries. That's why we try to be a little bit strict. And also we have the rule that Norwegian SMEs can only receive funding for participation in one project per deadline. You saw earlier about the criteria, the evaluation criteria on IPN. And in Eurostars, they're quite similar. About the consortium, what kind of consortium do you have? Do you have the right people there with the right experience? It's about excellence in both research and innovation, and it's about impact. And they are similar to the one you see in EU. There was a question about that. They're very, very similar. And at the Eurostars website, you can go in and read the guidelines. And please do so. Because as you heard earlier, you might have an excellent idea, great innovation, great research, but you haven't really taken into account that there has to be a market there. There has to be a product ready for the market as soon as possible after you have finished the Eurostar project. So it doesn't help that you are the Nobel Peace Prize winner if you don't have a market for what you have developed. That's very important. Yes.
For some of us that are in the disruptive, what type of metrics do you use to evaluate markets that showed up? Because we have seen it in the last 3 years regarding taxonomy and there was no market 4 years ago.
Thank you very much for that question. The expert panel here is not Norwegian. It is an international independent expert panel. And we have several project Eurostars application in the health tech, in biotech, in IE, in digital, in all kinds of sectors. And very often the question comes up that it's very hard to see what's the market tomorrow, 2 years, 5 years. So of course, not always you will have the answer. If you had that, you will be like the new Google or whatever. But we use this international experts panel with experts from all around in Europe, all countries. So usually you have people there knowing these challenges. So you don't have to have the exact answer, but you have to be aware and describe the potential. Here are some of the more general criteria for the Eurostars applications. And the most important is that you need to have a partner from another European or Eurostars country. And please be aware that both UK and Switzerland, Canada, South Korea, Chile, South Africa, and some other countries are also Eurostars countries. So you may cooperate with partners in the UK. No problem. So please go into the website and look at all the partners. I think we are 38, 39 countries. Also Singapore is one of the participating countries. I'm not going to list up all the names, but please go in. It's Europe plus plus. But what it says here is that at least one of the organization, the partners, has to come from EU or Horizon Europe associated country, and that is Norway. So coming from Norway, it's not a problem. But for UK, cannot cooperate with only Canada. They need to have a partner from EU or a EU associated country like Norway. And also be aware that in Eurostars projects, all the partners in a way, they are equal, meaning that it's not subcontracting an R&D partner that you invoice the partner. The partners are real equal partners who all will benefit from the result of the project. But you may also have subcontractors. You may also invoice some experts if you need some technology or some specific skills. You may do that, but the partners in the projects are all real partners, equal in a way. You also have the opportunity as a Norwegian applicant to apply for PS. That's a scheme at the Research Council, project establishment support, prosjektetableringsstøtte in Norwegian. And that's something we give you because we know it costs a lot of money and time to write an application. And if you are the main partner, the main SME startup in the project, you may get 100,000 NOK from PS if you only are a partner in the project, and the main partner comes from another country, you may get 50,000 NOK. But however, it's been a little bit more strict to get that money, that support. So your Eurostars application has to be evaluated as over threshold. Before, it could only be, if it was eligible, you would get the PS support. Today, the application had to be over threshold. So, unfortunately, that's the situation today, but this is due to the budget situation for RCM. No, you get the money after the project has been evaluated by the expert and has come on the final list of the projects over threshold, that they are so good that they can be funded, but then it's up to all the countries how much money they have to fund the partners. This spring, unfortunately, RCN didn't have any budget for Eurostars for the first time in history, but we will be back in September. The 14th of September is the next deadline, and the call will be launched mid-July on our websites. And it's very important to go into the website because there you will also see if there have been any changes in your other participating countries. Due to the economic situation in Europe today, there might be changes in some of the budgets in our partner countries. So please be aware of that. The deadline is then the 14th of September. And then you will have a process with international expert panel, a financial and legal and financial viability check, because we have to check that you are not undertaking some difficulties and other evaluations. And then the results will be ready right before Christmas. So then you may start up your project early next year. Anything I forgot? Okay.
Is it still maximum 6 million from?
Yes, thank you. It's a max 6 million per for the Norwegian part of the project, meaning that if you're an SME and you have invited SINTEF into your project, then
Thomas Sharks.
yeah, SINTEF will get 70% of the costs funded by RCN, while the SMEs, both small and medium size, only can get 50%. But they can also apply small ones for SkatteFUNN. And also large companies are welcome, but they can only get 30% support.
Is there a risk that you get above threshold in Brussels or from the experts, and then you're being sent back to your country, and then the country says, no, we don't have enough money?
Yeah, unfortunately, because since we didn't participate in the spring call, we know that there is a quite huge interest for the cutoff in September. We will have a budget of 60 million NOK for that call. But
10 projects.
no, actually, because it depends. It differs very much from project to project on how large they are. So usually, on average, Norwegian projects is between 2.5, 3 million NOK. But then they, of course, have partners from other countries. So the total budget cost is much bigger.
Is it still so that this is 20 to 30% chance of getting a
Yes.
threshold?
Yeah, 28, 29. Yeah, success rate.
Which is kind of good in.
A general question, we are in our third year of project that we want to in 2019, and we've seen two challenges in the beginning of the project, but also now in the ongoing reporting. They are connected to some sort of mismatch between the Research Council's rules and systems and Eurostar's rules. One of the two in particular was that Eurostar is putting a very strong focus on the commercial aspects of the application. So we had a lot of commercial work packages concerning commercialization and marketing. That was very important to get the contract, to win the project. But then when we reapplied for the Research Council contract, those work packages were, we cannot fund this. Research Council doesn't fund any commercial activities, we have to remove that. That was a bit of a tricky thing in the beginning. And now we still see challenges that the financial reporting scheme of Eurostar and the Research Council different.
Yeah.
Into different budgets to different plans that don't directly affect each other. Has that been improved maybe over the years?
Thank you very much. This is a very important issue because Eurostar is, as I said, is a program for innovative projects, innovative development for products, processes, whatever, for a market. They should come to market with a clear market focus. However, we are only allowed to fund applied research and or experimental developments. And none of the European countries are allowed to fund commercialization activities in Eurostar's project. We are not allowed to do that according to the state aid rules and the EU Commission. Then you have to apply for EIC Accelerator, which will be presented after the break. So I know this is a problem on how to promote the program, telling you that you have to have an extreme clear focus on the market opportunities, while we are only allowed to fund the R&D expenditures. So I know that. regarding the report system. Unfortunately, you both have to report to Eurostars, the Eureka Secretariat in Brussels, and to RCN. It's like a double one. And that's because they have to have the whole system clear and fixed in Brussels to report to the Commission. And we have to be clear regarding Norwegian tax authorities and so on. So that's the challenge, having this international national mixed program, unfortunately. And I'm not in a position to change that. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, actually, before we go into the next speaker, I just want to share, because Eurostars, I have, it's kind of could be one of my babies in a way. I applied it myself some years ago with a drone company. So, and just to bring one example into on the Eurostars grant here, I would say, if you sit here now and think, is Eurostar something for me? You should think that, okay, if you have product A and you have a European partner that has some kind of technology B, and together you could create product C, and that will kind of disrupt the whole thing that you're working on. But at the same time, if you fail on creating C, because you must have some kind of risk in the project, you will still be able to kind of raise your A level and B level together. So in our case, we had the drone that could fly very long. So we built a hybrid engine. So we got funding to kind of create that hybrid engine. And we had a helicopter company that had a sensor for inspecting power lines that they wanted to downscale from helicopter size to drone size. So that was kind of A and B. And together we could create kind of the revolutionized service of inspecting power lines instead of using helicopters together. So yeah, I'm very happy to talk with you about if you want to try to apply for Eurostars. So feel free to contact me after this event. Next one up is Wakar. Yes. Pathfinder. Yeah. Here we go.
Hello, good afternoon. So my name is Vakar. I'm NCP for two different programs of Research Council. The first one is EIC, which has 3 instruments, and we will present those today. And the second one is Cluster 4, which is Digital Industry and Space in the Horizon Europe. I will briefly go through both programs and also the overall structure in Horizon Europe, and then more focus on the EIC opportunities. All right. Question: how many of you have seen this structure before? So this is an overall structure how Horizon Europe is organized. We have 3 pillars. On the left is Excellent Science, which has 3 instruments inside. European Innovation Council, it's Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, and then research infrastructures. And these programs are mainly focused on the basic research, building infrastructures for research, postdocs, PhD programs, exchange programs. So all this scientific work is on the left pillar. And this is bottom up. So you can submit any idea as long as it fits in the program scope. Then we have second pillar, which is Global Challenges and European Industrial Competitiveness. And the program is split under different clusters: food, health, culture, creativity, and inclusive societies, digital industry and space, climate. And these are more top-down programs. So this cluster is actually implementing European policies, European strategies, AI Act, Data Act, the Green Transition Initiatives, Fit for 55. So all the European ambitions on the political side, they are implemented through these programs. And then we have third pillar, which is Innovative Europe. And this pillar is mainly focused on really cultivating and growing the innovative culture in Europe, is funding the deep tech ideas, breakthroughs in the scientific domain, which can really change, transform societies. So that is in the third pillar. As I said, I'm NCP in the digital program and also in the EIC. So I will briefly present opportunities in these two domains. But as a whole, this is 95 billion euro program, where a large part goes on in the middle pillar, and then we have, I think, 13 billion on the innovative Europe. Right. So in the digital domain, I believe this is Noura, and most of the people are involved in the artificial intelligence type of research. So in digital program, I've identified 5 topics which have submission next year, and they're all targeting in one way or the other artificial intelligence. For example, on the left top, we have explainable and robust AI topic. Then we have collaborative intelligence, combining the best of machine and humans, AI-driven data operations. So these are topics which are really purely focused on the artificial intelligence. In total, there are 47 topics. I just picked those 5 which are more to the point on artificial intelligence. And then on the right side, you can see these are research innovation actions. When it's research innovation action, it means that the main focus is on research, but you have to demonstrate the innovative aspect, the application of the research results. And then we have innovation actions, which are focused on the most of the research is done. It's really taking the research results into deployment. In the funding, you can see all these projects are offering in the range 9 to 10 million euros for a single project, and the number of projects which will be funded, 4 to 5 projects. So if you find any of these topics interesting or you would like to know more, you can contact me. But typically the requirement is it's a project in a consortium, minimum 3 partners from EU member and associated countries, where 1 partner must be from the EU member states. So this is mainly from cluster 4. Then I move on to the EIC, which is the main discussion topic today. And in EIC, we have 3 different instruments. The first one is Pathfinder, which is focused on early stage research and breakthrough technologies. So that is the main focus in this program. The second one is focused on, and this is low TRL, from the idea, taking the idea to the proof of concept. The second one is focused on transition. So the ideas which have gone to the proof of concept, taking those into the validation and into small scale demonstrators. And then those ideas which are successful in the demonstration, they can move on to accelerator. So Innovation Norway will present more on the accelerator program, but I'm the contact point for the first 2 programs. So all of these programs, they offer 2 types of funding possibilities. It's bottom up. You can submit any idea as long as you are within the scope of the program, so it's bottom up. But at the same time, you have top-down challenges. And those challenges are driven by the European competitiveness, the areas where Europe can build competence in the future, areas where Europe needs to build technologies. So some of the areas which are quite central in these programs: health, biotechnology, agri-food, quantum technologies, semiconductors, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence. So these are the areas where Europe would like to build the competence and have strategies in these areas. So those are more top-down challenges which are set by the program. The first one is EIC Pathfinder. So as I said, it's a basic research from the basic idea, taking that to proof of concept. But it's ambitious. So the idea has to be very ambitious, a radically new idea, which can have a very strong market impact, disrupt the market, or create new markets. So you need to take that into consideration while thinking about this idea. And it's a very high risk. So it's allowed to take risk in your idea. You do not need to come up with all the risk and mitigation plans, demonstrate how you will overcome those risks and set the project idea, but you need to demonstrate the nobility of the idea in your proposal. The projects are often interdisciplinary, so you have to include multiple disciplines to address the project idea. The outcomes are from the basic idea to proof of concept. And the project will lead to scientific publications. That will be the typical outcome of the project. And then you need to demonstrate maybe as part of towards end of the project, how that idea can move on into the solving the real market challenges. It offers 4 million euro maximum funding, and then you have 100% funding rate. As part of the project, if you're going well on the track, then you can get additional funding to do the to really evaluate the commercialization aspects of your project as part of the project. Here, I just would like this to show Norwegian position. There was a cutoff in October last year. We received results not long ago. It's about a month ago. So this is the Norwegian position in the European, compared to other European countries. So Norway was positioned 11. So this is where Norway stands in these type of programs. But you will notice that 34 Norwegian entities participated in the program. 6 of those were invited to funding. So 17% success rate for the Norwegian entities. If you compare with other countries, we are quite high in that sense. So the applications sent from Norway, often they have higher chances to succeed according to these statistics. And at the same time, the amount we requested, we received 30% of that, which is also quite high compared to some of the other countries. So we are very close to, for example, Netherlands and Denmark. This was an internal slide, so I hide some of the details. So these are lists of projects which got funded. They are still in contract development, so we cannot really share the details, but just wanted to show one statement from one of the applicants which got funded. So he said they got invitation to this project because they had an ongoing project at Research Council in the ICT Plus program. So based on the recognition and the publications they've done in that program, they got invited to this project. And then they are leading a whole work package within the disease risk prediction. And it's really based on the artificial intelligence, and the project is focused on personalized prediction of the disease progression. So the connection between the national programs and EU is often well established. And another aspect, so this is also from the same call. If you look at the type of participants, universities are quite large part of the program. 45% are universities. And then you have the research institutions, which are 23%. But the interesting thing is the SMEs. So 26% of the participants are SMEs. So there is a room for SMEs and the research organizations to collaborate in this program. If I go back into the previous program, FACT, which was Future and Emerging Technologies, there having an SME in your project was an indication that you will not succeed, because you're demonstrating that you can take the results into implementation as part of the program. But in this program, and when you have the challenges, SME participation is quite acceptable, quite needed. So that was a bit about the Pathfinder. And then the next program, it's the EIC transition. In the EIC transition, a single company can apply. So that is one aspect that needs to be noted. And then you can have a consortium of 2 to 5 partners. It's still allowed to be in a consortium, but a single company can apply as well. Another important thing here is that your project should build on the results which are coming from Pathfinder, the previous FAT program, or ERC, which I said in the pillar 1, proof of concept. So the results should come from those programs, but it's really about taking the successful projects, excellent research done into the transition phase. So from proof of concept to a demonstration level. But for the challenges part of this program, it can be a project in these 3 programs. But in addition, if you have a project in Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe, that is also eligible. So it's really taking all the projects which are in the EU domain in the framework program if they're addressing a challenge which is specified in the transition program, they can submit a project. You can get a grant of 2.5 million euros. And it's a validation and demonstration of the proof of concept. So taking from TRL 3 to TRL 5. And then it's to develop the market readiness of your PRI. Right. A brief summary. So we have a work program for 2023, which is published, it's available. As I said, EIC Pathfinder, it's available both in open and in the challenges. In the EIC Pathfinder open, the deadline was 7th of March. So there's no more possibility in the Pathfinder area. But if you go to the challenges, so these are the list of challenges. Clean and efficient cooling, construction, digitalization, precision nutrition, responsible electronics, and in-space solar energy. So these are some of the challenges in the Pathfinder, and there the submission is 18th of October. So it's still possible to meet some of this deadline if you know that you can address this challenge. And then you have EIC transition, and there we have a deadline in April, but the next one is in September, and it goes same for the transition challenges. Nano, micro devices, environmental intelligence, chip scale, optical frequency comms. I would just like to say these challenges, they are, so EIC has hired program managers. So these are not EU staff, they are people they are taken from the market for 2 years, 3 years deputation, people who are expert in these domains, and they are responsible for identifying the challenges. So they go through the whole EU person portfolio, the program portfolio, and find what has already been funded. They do the market analysis. They involve the experts from the countries. So there's a workshop. There was a workshop today where we had dialogue with experts to really get their inputs where Europe should invest next. So, for example, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT is one challenge in the next year program. Quantum technologies, how to save energy in the quantum components, removing debris from the space. So these are the challenges will be in the next year program. Another fact which I would like to highlight towards the end of my presentation, there will be a presentation on EIC Accelerator, but we know that most of the companies, 90% of the companies which are successful in EIC Accelerator, they are companies which have a deep research and development in their history. So the companies which have previous funding in the BIA program at Research Council, for new program, or in other national programs, they have done a lot of research, and then those companies are mature enough to go on and apply in the EIC Accelerator and also the EIC transition programs. So there is a connection. So having projects in the national portfolio will give you a lot of credibility and maturity to move on to the next level. Right. So that was my last slide. I think I went through more like these are different programs. But if we have any question on any of these programs, we'd like to get access to the core topics, the work program documents, and you can always reach to me. But I'm open for questions.
Any questions? Yes.
I hear that it's sort of transition funding is almost guaranteed fully if you have done a Pathfinder program. Is that correct? Is there any?
So that is an eligibility criteria. So in the EIC challenges, when they set the challenges, they do the screening. What sort of projects have already been funded, which are ready for the transition. And it could be that if you have a project which has already shown results, and then you're exactly addressing that specific challenge, then you have much more likelihood that you will be found. But in the open, the project will be from the H2020 Horizon Europe, so it's more open. So it's more competition. But at least that give you the legibility of more no guarantee.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I discreetly moved over our break. But we are a little bit behind schedule as well. But so we're just going to run over to the next presentation, which is Kathleen and Maria, who will introduce EIC Accelerator. Maria and Kathleen, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Is it okay? I just get
Of
some.
course, go and get some water. I'll vamp a little bit in the meantime. I'll go just wait.
Thank you. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Kathleen. I work as an EU advisor at Innovation Norway. I was supposed to be here together with my colleague Maria Askim, but she is unfortunately sick. But she will actually be here next Tuesday, and I think she will be here every once a month. I think we have agreed on. So yeah. So if you have more questions after this seminar, you will be able to talk to her on Tuesday. Yes, so let's go to the EIC Accelerator. This is, I must say, okay. Well, I can start to say that this is one of the most attractive programs, one of the most attractive funding programs, but also one of the most demanding funding programs in the EU. It is under Horizon Europe, as Bakal presented, and it is situated under Pillar 3 under Innovative Europe. And it is actually the last program in Horizon Europe before market launch. So you should have come a long way. And in this program, you can actually apply on your own. You don't need to have any collaboration partners, which is often an advantage. You don't need to find any consortia for this program. And what it is, well, it aims to boost Europe's economic growth. It provides a combination of funding in addition to business acceleration services. I will come back to the funding. It's open to all sectors and any field of technology. There's also some challenges. And it helps to develop business concepts further into a market-ready product. Yes, the function. So this is just an overview of different EU programs that you eventually can apply for. Bakar mentioned the Pathfinder transition and talk about Eurostars. And as you can see, the EIC Accelerator is the last program before market entry. And the EU, they are very fond of technology readiness levels, so TRL scale. So all the programs are often related to how far you are in the development scale. So when it comes to the EIC Accelerator, you have to be on at least 5, 6, which means that you have tested your product or service in a relevant environment like a lab. If you apply for the EIC Accelerator, you also have to be aware of the BRL, the business readiness level. And that's where we often see the weak points of Norwegian companies, that they haven't done enough research on go-to-market strategies, how you're going to enter different markets, regulatory approvals, your business model, how you're going to earn money on the product, who are your clients, who's willing to pay for this product. That's where we see often a missing link. And this ESG Accelerator program is divided in three, so it's 3 steps. So first you apply for step 1, which is approximately 18 questions together with a film that you have to send in, a film of your team and your innovation, because they want to see if you're really motivated for this project. And you also have to send in an investor deck. And then it's step 2, which is much more comprehensive. Now it's around 150 pages, so it's you have to really be motivated for this. And here also you send in a new investor deck. And then it's the last step where it is the interview, where you meet 6 jury members and you have to present your idea and your project in front of a jury. So who can apply? So this is, as I said, it is for SMEs, small, medium enterprises, with game-changing innovation. So this program is really not for everyone. You have to be 110% sure that you have a unique technology before you start on this. As it's very comprehensive, some of the applications. It should build on society, social, scientific, or technology breakthroughs, deep tech. Deep tech is a kind of a buzzword in the EU now, but it really means that it is a lot of science and research behind it. And what we see is that most of the companies that are funded, they do have a link to universities or like fintech or so it should be deep tech. It should be at least a lot of research and science behind it. Also, this European global dimension is important. They want that your project should create value creation in Europe, which means jobs in Europe. And your project should respond to societal challenges, which means, again, the sustainable development goals. So your project should actually make the world a better place to be. And this aspect is also very important. It's scale-up potential. Because what they are looking for is companies who will become a unicorn. So they really want to see that this is going to scale up, it's going to be big, it's going to create a lot of jobs, and it will become a unicorn. So don't be modest. They also first look for a strong team. The team is always important when they evaluate the project. They want to see that you have the right competence, motivation, the right people. And if you don't, you most likely don't have all these people on board yet. So they want that you show also your recruiting plan and how you're going to recruit talent to your business. They're also very occupied about diversity, and they do have quotation systems now for female CEOs and CFOs, COOs. So their aim is to have 40% females to the interview. The last but not least is also high risk. There has to be some type of risk in your project, like technological risk, commercial risk, regulation risk. Because if there's no risk in your project, the EU will say you don't really need, or why do you need public money if there's no risk in your project? So it has to, you have to show some type of risk here. This program is also divided into open and challenges. The open is bottom up, so all technologies can apply. And it also has challenges, which is top down. And here we have 7 strategic challenges which go within digital, health, energy, yeah, I'll send all the challenges after my presentation so you can see them all. The application form is the same and the deadlines are the same, and it's normally 4 deadlines a year. But for the first application, there's no deadline. You can send it in whenever you are ready. But for the step 2, if you come further to the step 2, there are 4 cutoff dates. And the next cutoff is the 7th of June, which will be too short for you to prepare for. So the next after that is in October, the 4th of October. But there will, of course, also come new deadlines for next year. And normally it's in March, June, January, March, June, and October. So what kind of support can you apply for? So this is what makes this program very attractive, because you can apply for 2.5 million euros in grants, which is now, when you multiply this with 12, it's now 30 million kroner. Before I said 25 million kroner, but it's actually now 30 million kroner. And this is for from TRL 5.6 up to TRL 8. So it is your innovation project that goes to the ground component. Another aspect which is also very attractive is that it's reimbursed up to a maximum of 70%, which is also very high compared to national grants from Innovation Norway and Forskningsrådet. And a project normally goes for 2 years, 24 months. And the aim is then to have market entry after this program. And now it also has this investment component, which is also very popular for Norwegian companies, because here you can apply for 15 million euros, which now will be like 180 million kroner in equity. And this is actually a combination from the EU that they go in and take a part of your company, but it's also that you bring a lead investor is on board. And it is also meant that the EU tries to find also private investors that can be part of your company. Yes, and this is normally in the form of direct equity or passive equity. And maximum 25% of the voting shares of the company will come from the EU, and they say it's patient capital, which is very positive. So 7 to 10 years. And I know this is kind of complicated, so you can ask me questions about that after, or Maria on Tuesday. And here is the type of activities that can be funded. So it's basically anything from TRL 5.6 to TRL 8, and then the equities from TRL 9. All the commercialization and scale up is for the equity part. So it's really activities aimed to bringing the innovation to market. So it can be validating and testing, prototyping in a large scale. So you have a partner you found and you test your project in a large scale. It can be ICAR, it can be market approval, market activities and commercialization, and launch is then TRL 9. If you have a project that is very cost intensive, for example, health companies often have clinical trials that cost a lot, you are allowed to use equity money into the innovation project also. Yes. So Innovation Norway, we are here to assist you. So we try to advise at least on funding possibilities within the EU. We do also, if we see that you don't fit exactly into the ESG Accelerator program or other EU programs, we also try to reach you to national grants or loans. And And we don't write proposals or applications, but we do read and give feedback. We do have a webinar that is called The Road to Brussels, and it's basically tips and tricks towards the interview in Brussels. So we do pitching training. We have a collaboration with a well-known pitching coach that is called Nathan Gold, who is based in San Francisco. We have dress rehearsals together with Investinor, where we basically grill and kill you when you do your pitch and give you tips how you can improve your presentation. Because Norwegians are often very modest in presenting their projects and technologies, and yeah, so it's often that you have to be more selling and more American. We also try to assist companies with a plan B, because this program is, as I started with, it's not for everyone. Yeah, it's only 7% success rate. So unfortunately, it's not that many who are funded, but if you feel that you do have a really deep tech innovation, you have done a very thorough competitive analysis, and you see that you are very unique there, you have an excellent team, you have a huge impact, and you have a good project, you should definitely apply, because it's a very attractive program. And yes, I think that was all. So this is Maria that will meet you next Tuesday. And yeah, thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Gotta think about it and ask afterwards. Yeah, great. Yes, Pernille, ja. Oh, ja, ja,
Er det utgått fra programmet?
Nei.
Nei.
Nils først. Ja, det er klart. Jo. Nils? Hadde vi lyst til å høre fra litt først? Ja. Sorry, English. Nils Helseth, thank you very much for coming. I'm sorry I didn't see you.
No.
But Nils's company Digifarm has successfully applied for EIC funding and received many, many millions. So he is here today to tell you a little bit about his experience. So Nils, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much. All right, thanks. I don't have any fancy slides, by the way, so I figured I'll talk a little bit and then we can make it interactive. But yeah, Nils, I'm one of the co-founders and CEOs of Digifarm. We're an ag tech startup based just about an hour in Hamar. We started in 2019. I'm also a 15th generation farmer and crop producer myself. So for me, it was exciting to be part of the technical journey when we started in 2019. We went through some R&D projects, as you typically do, through the University of Life Sciences, and we worked with the NLR, or Norwegian National Agronomy Association, in the beginning on some stuff. And then that kind of trickled on to some national programs through Innovation Norway. And then we also did some stuff with Norwegian Space Agency and European Space Agency. So we got to a point where this call, the A6 letter, might be applicable. Maybe also 2 words about what we do. We take Sentinel-2 data, which is from European Space Agency. It's the highest publicly freely available satellite Earth observation data, and we do a super resolution on it. So we do a complete reconstruction from 10 meters, 1 meter per pixel. Enables us to apply cut, not having to buy commercial grade satellite data, which is very expensive. And then we build models on top of it. So we build deep neural network model for detecting boundaries and seeded acres, which is kind of the fundamental data layer for precision ag services or infill analytics. And then we tell you something more actionable about the boundaries. So, you know, what kind of crop it is, the productivity, and this kind of stuff. And then we sell that to agribusinesses. So we work with some agencies in Europe, and then we work with quite a few of the kind of agribusiness across the value chain. So there's a lot of technical development for us. So we didn't really know about all the EU programs besides the kind of European Space Agency and the stuff that we we were told about. And then through Heidner, which is the bioeconomy cluster in Hamar, they tipped us off that there was this call, the ESG accelerator. Didn't know much about it, and we started looking into it. This was 2021. So at that point, there was 2 cutoff dates. We applied 6th of June, or whenever it was in the beginning of June, for the short application. And then the stage 2 application was October of that year. That year was also a new process because they had the platform that originally just had a template. So it took a little bit getting used to that. But what can I tell you? It was very time consuming. It's resource and takes a lot of resources, but it's certainly worth it if you get through. I think the timing was right for us. You know, the sustainability stuff and the Green Deal and everything's happening in the EU. And in addition to that, all the kind of capital that went into, you know, funding the Copernicus and Sentinel programs in the European Space Agency. And we didn't use an external consultant. We did all the writing ourselves with the help of Heidner. And we applied for the open calls. We didn't do any green deals or any specific calls. And we applied for blended financing, so both grant and equity investment. And we ended up applying for 6 million euros. 4.2 was equity investment and 1.8 was grant. And I still remember when we submitted in October in 2021. It was I was pretty sure we weren't gonna get through the 3rd stage, but we did. And then there's quite a short time period from 2nd stage till the 3rd, which is that kind of jury process. And Innovation Norway is great. You know, they helped us do all the pitch training and everything, and ran us through the loops, was really useful. And then at that point it was virtual. Might be physical now again in Brussels, but it was virtual for us. And then you have like 2 or 3 weeks where you're just kind of biting your teeth, not knowing whether you're going to get it or not. And then we knew in December of 2021. And then it took a long time from December to kick off. I think our kickoff meeting was April 2022. So all the way from December to April, typically 6 weeks, but they had some delays. And then from kickoff to actually when we started the project was another 3 months. We started June 1st last year. So we have a 2-year program, 2-year project. So we started June last year, and we're basically halfway through. And then we're going to go from TRL 6 to 9, and then we have our kind of equity investment, which will kind of fund us through the commercial stage that comes after. One thing I can say is that after doing a couple of projects like European Space Agency and different EU-based commission funding, the EIC, et cetera, is really smooth and nice and easy when it comes to the reporting side, much more than I thought it would be. So that's really pleasant to think. It's a lot of work at the, front loaded in terms of application and the diligence and everything else. But once you get through and you're actually in project stage, they kind of let you be and let you focus on the stuff. So that's been really nice. And now we're using a consultant for the reporting, but we didn't do it for the application. So, but that's helpful. So, yeah, maybe I'll just open up for some questions, or I can keep talking. Yeah.
How did you decide on the split between the grant and equity?
Yeah, so good question. So you can apply for 15 million euros in equity investment, up to 2.5 million euros in grant, which you might have mentioned. We should apply for more, right? We should apply for 2.5, but it was right in the budget that we figured we would need to be able to get kind of through the TRL 6 to 9. There has to be some logic behind it. But yeah. And the equity investment was just a component of where, what our valuation would be and kind of all those details. And about the equity investment component, maybe I can mention that too, is there, so they give you a term sheet. The European Investment Bank gives you basically a pretty open term sheet, and then the lead investor will come in, and the lead investor will basically determine the conditions, valuation, cap, conversion, all this stuff, and then the EIB will basically adopt those conditions. So that's been pretty smooth. They did a due diligence, and then they send you a signed term sheet, and then you go out and find the lead investor. Yeah. Yeah, no, well, EIB is not involved in the valuation actually. So it's the lead investor that will determine the valuation and the cap and the discount on that stuff on the convertible. So the AB will basically take the terms of the lead investor. I think it has to be reasonable, right? It can't be like some work out a scheme with your investor and, you know, wouldn't work out for that investor anyways, but yeah, so it has to be some logic to it, but the EIB don't get involved with the valuation. They just do the bare kind of due diligence and KYC and AML and all that stuff, and then yeah.
That's why you have a chance.
Going back to Hamar, long drive.
Yeah, you're
so,
going back to home, huh?
you know, countryside.
Last chance.
Yeah.
Is anybody here considering applying for EIC? Well, no wonder you. are.
No, oh gosh, I didn't do my job then.
Yeah, inspiring. That's
know,
what we're
right?
trying to be.
I know, I'm
Inspiring.
sorry, guys. Do it.
But thank you very
No, no,
much, Nils, for
thank
coming by. Thank you. And now for the final presentation, we have Pernille on student. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I was asked here to talk about students, but since I guess most of you know that there have been some changes in our startup schemes, so I will include that as well today. And just a quick question, how many of you are familiar with the previously startup schemes in Innovation Norway, commercialization grants, pre-market entry grants? Okay, good. Quite a few. First, I will say a bit about the students, and then I'll move over to the most significant changes in the startup schemes. This is representative no matter what kind of scheme I'm going to talk about. So we are looking for companies that are developing products or solutions with a high innovation degree, scalability, and possibility for export. And we also consider value creation in Norway, and the right team with execution power. And there you have kind of a list, and don't think of it as a checklist because we always evaluate the project on a holistic view. And this is not a right-based scheme. None of the schemes I'm going to talk about today is right-based. So it is a competition, and we need to prioritize. I think you will get the PDF after, so you can look at this more closely. When that's being said, if you saw the previous list, I can say that students will differ from that because in the student grants, we also consider what kind of positive effect it will have on the university and on developing the students' entrepreneurial skills. So that is thrown into the mix from the ordinary list. So the student, it was at the Forskningsrådet, the Norwegian Research Council, but now it's at Innovation Norway. It hasn't been too many changes in the how it is, what is the purpose of it, etc. So you can see here, it is to fuel more good entrepreneurs from universities. It is a grant up to 1 million kroner, no equity needed from the companies, and that's pretty rare, at least in Innovation Norway. So it is a very attractive grant. So yeah, we put a strong emphasis that the student or the university is behind this. So you need to have a contract with an academic mentor on your university, and you need to find a commercial mentor on your own as well. And more on who can apply. This is from master level and upwards. So bachelor students are excluded. They need to own at least 80% of the company when they submit the application. Yeah, and we need to see that if you're on a master level, you need to submit your master's degree before you start a project. And for professional levels, you have must completed at least 4 years of your education. And for the PhD level, we need to see that there's an agreement between you and the university. Okay. I went very fast through that. Is there any questions to the student? No? Okay, so Innovation Norway has put up a panel with the Minister for Trade and Industries and the ecosystem, and they have all provided us input to how our previously grants loans for startup works, and come up with some suggestions. And also Menon did an evaluation of all the schemes. So we have done some adjustments, and we launched this only 10 days ago. So the first grant under these new requirements have not been yet. I have not gone through. So it's new to you. It's new to us. Yeah, we will gather feedback on how this actually works. We hope it works well. So I think, okay. For those of you who know the pre-market entry grant, markedsavklaringstilskudd, the most important change there is that for companies who have registered employees, you can apply for 200,000 kroner. So that's doubling there. That's the most important for the Oppstartstilskudd 1. We also changed the names. So Oppstartstilskudd 1, previously markedsavklaringstilskudd. I think he left, but there was a guy here with Enk. Enk can still apply for the Oppstartstilskudd 1. For the other ones, you need to have a aksjeselskap. We'll go a little bit more into detail. So I covered that one previously, markedsavklaringstilskudd, 200,000 kroner if you have registered employees. If not, it's the same as before, 100,000 kroner, 100% fully financed from Innovation Norway, no requirements for equity. If you apply for 200,000 kroner, that is 75% of the total cost, which means you need to have 66,000 Norwegian kroner in equity. Okay. Oppstartstilskudd 2, previously commercialization grants. This is now been upped to 1 million Norwegian kroner, but it's divided into 2 allocations. So you need to send in 2 applications. And if you are eligible for the first part, there's no automatization that you will be eligible for the second part. We will look at milestones for those who get the first part. We look at milestones, and those milestones will be connected to the product development, financial, and also the markets, of course. I think also it's important to say that under the new regime, previously grants from the first phase will not be excluded in this one. So this means that the whole startup grant scheme now can potentially be 1.2 million kroner, whereas before it was maximum 700,000 kroner. So it is quite a significant difference there. You see, there is some criteria, especially for the second part of this grant. You need to have a board with minimum 1 external board member, for example. And also the financing degree here is, as it used to be, 50-50. So you need to have equity as well for this. Unfortunately, companies who have received commercialization grants in the past are not eligible for this. Oppstart 3. This, for most of the companies, this will mainly be loan financing. The startup loan, which have gone through some significant changes. The most important one there, I believe, is that we removed the caution surety. Is that the right word? Caution surety. Yeah, we removed that, no longer a requirement. we upped the down payment time from 4 years to 6 years. And you can apply for 2 million kroners, so from 1.5 to 2 million kroners, and you need to match that with 50%. So we hope that this is more relevant. So for most of the companies, this third phase will consist of the startup loan, which is, yeah, better. The grant that some of you may have heard about, it is a pilot only this year, pilot from 2023. There's quite a small budget on this pilot. The companies who can apply for this grant must have received an innovation project of some sort previously. And I can say right away, commercialization grant, market entry grant does not qualify as an innovation project. We are talking about innovation contract, the environmental technology grants, or IPM or similar projects in Forskningsrådet. SkatteFUNN does not qualify as an innovation project. So for those companies who have received that kind of innovation project in the past and still are younger than 5 years old, do solve huge environmental or societal challenges, can apply for this. It is a grant, and Kathleen talked a little bit about TRL, BRL, and the target group should be close to TRL 7. So this is for those companies who have been quite R&D intensive, and now they're on the brink to commercialization. So this grant is to do those last activities. Certification, market distribution, those kind of things. So this is not an R&D activity-based project. It's 2 million kroners, and those 2 million can be 1/3 of the total budget. So you also need to have external capital here. And there are a few other criteria here. You need to have at least 2 employees. You have to have a board with at least 2 external board members. And yeah, as I said previously, innovation grants from us or Forskningsrådet and Norway or EU. And I think also bear in mind that regardless of what you think you want to apply for, when you go through our pages and start to describe your project, we will look at it, and maybe you are applying for the grant in the phase 3 and we see, okay, you're not eligible for that, but maybe this scheme can suit you better. So we try to be flexible. We try to look at all our schemes when we receive your projects and see if there's a good fit somewhere. Every other week, we do have webinars on all these schemes. So we will go even more into detail. There will be questions and answer sessions. So, and our web pages are, of course, updated when we can read more about the new requirements. And yeah. Are there any questions?
Let's talk about, they only happen in Norwegian, or they do have, because I know there were applications, it's quite Norwegian. So that's what my question.
Yeah, up until now, they have only been held in Norwegian. Yeah.
But the can write in English and the form, right?
Oh, yeah, the application can be in English.
Yeah, I know about
Yeah.
application.
Okay, yeah.
I was referring to that presentation, the slide, and then they are in English. And then you want to read it.
Yeah, yeah.
So the stage 3 companies, can you say something about how medical companies can apply here, because they will often be available in medical trial runs. And at the end of the medical trial, why they probably achieve this kind of funding, but they need it before.
I think regardless of what kind of market, if you are younger than 5 years old, have received any of those innovation projects I mentioned, and you still have some progress in your company as things are developing, then,
My guess would be the TRL stage,
oh yeah,
because you could argue that if you go into clinical trial, you know, from stage 4 or something.
yeah. The thing about the TRL is it's kind of, it's a guideline. It's not, it has nothing to do with state aid, it's, so there can always be exceptions if there's good reasons, and we are aware of the specific challenges from the medical industry, so, yeah.
So what are you to encourage people to apply?
If you are younger than 5 years old and have one of those projects, I encourage you to get in contact with us. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Could you confirm that there's, those that has been granted innovation loan with security, it doesn't have virtual spectrum, course? If you grant it, you will still have the security coverage, obligation.
At the start of them?
Yeah.
Oh, alltså om det är reversibelt för de som har fått. Nej. No, sorry. Yeah. No, all of the schemes I've talked about today, starter 1, 2, and 3 are all running. No deadlines. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Just one side, what kind of evaluation you evaluate for that there?
Oh, I forgot to mention that, good question. We do have, we will use the panel on the grants for the start of today. So that panel will consist of both internal experts and also external ones, and it's natural to think that we bring in the external experts when it comes to the domain expertise. And the internal forces will be more experts on our policy and this kind of thing. Yeah.
External, the industry or research academics?
I guess that will depend a bit from case to case. We will try to find who's best suited. Yeah. And that will be the same as we do with